Hi, you guys. It is time to continue our Triple Play Thursdays, and I've got some young adult novels for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read 3 pages from 3 different genres of new books that we have on our young adult shelf. So let's explore some teen tidbits, shall we? The first one is Natasha Preston's The Lake. This is a young adult suspense novel. We're returning to camp, to new friendships, to songs and s'mores around the campfire, and to the scene of our crime. I lean between the front seats to get a better look out the windshield. There it is, I say as we drive under the large Camp Pine Lake sign. It's exactly as I remember it, the name carved into the wood. Glancing down, I trace one finger across identical bold lettering on the pamphlet I received earlier this year. Kayla and I both got letters asking us to consider becoming counselors in training. We're back. My best friend of 15 years glances at me as the cab crawls to a stop. She pouts her glossy lips, which makes her eyebrows pull together. Doesn't it seem, I don't know, smaller to you? Everything seems bigger when you're a kid, Kayla, I remind her. The last time we were here was 9 years ago. Compared to the other camps nearby, which really aren't all that near, we're the smallest, but the best. Camp Pine Lake takes girls and boys ages 7 to 10. Kayla and I spent 2 epic summers here when we were 7 and 8. We didn't come back when we were 9 or 10. We didn't dare. But we're 17 now. It's time. Kayla squeals as she opens the cab door. Yes, this summer is going to be amazing, she winks at me. We can even stay up late this time. We stayed up late when we were campers. The very second I open the other passenger door, we lose the AC, and I feel like I'm going to melt. At least our uniforms are shorts and t-shirts. Texas summers can be brutal. I forgot how insane the heat is. Yeah, but this time we're actually allowed to. Kind of. We have to stay in the same cabin as the kids, I remind Kayla. It feels more of a lateral move. Kayla grins. Esme, we're in our very own teeny room, though. A bedroom in a bedroom. We'll have some privacy. Her eyes flit over the grounds. I hope they have some cute counselors here. There's my bestie. Kayla is boy crazy, loves pink and heels, and falls in love about every 3 minutes. We thank the cab driver, then pay and tip him as he removes our bags for us. I lick my lips, swallowing as I take a look around. I'm really back. I feel a little ping in my stomach. I reach for Kayla's arm as she goes to pick up her pink camo suitcase. Kay, are we doing the right thing coming back? She groans. Aw, don't overthink it. We're going to be fine. Everything is going to be fine. Nodding, I pretend to agree. We're not kids anymore. Exactly. No one here knew us back then, so no one knows what happened. Chillax. Do people still say chillax? I let go of her and smile as she glares. All right, I'll chillax. We'll be fine. The last of my nerves have officially gone. I promise. What a stupid promise. I did not miss the Texas heat, she says, her shoulders slumping. I wave my hand in front of my face like a lunatic. Can air be on fire? Because I think it is. Why has no one put more research into outdoor AC? Look, there they all are, the counselors and the other CITs. Kayla squeals and we drag our suitcases across the grass to the group gathered outside a cabin. How can they stand to be exposed in this heat? We need to find Andy, Kayla tells me. Andy Marson is our boss. His name is on all the starter paperwork we were sent. He's the one in charge. Kayla and I have been paired together and assigned a counselor we'll do most of our activities with, along with a small group of campers. Which one do you think is Andy? She asks. I scan the group. My money is on the red-headed guy with the clipboard. He lifts his chin as we approach, and his pale eyes light up. Ah, our final CITs are here. Kayla Price and Esme Randall. And this is The Lake by Natasha Preston. It's a suspense YA. The next one we're going to explore is by Deb Coletti, and it's called One Great Lie, and this is a romance. Picture it. The exact coordinates where Charlotte's life will change and never look back. A table in the Seattle Public Library. On it, the book, Biographical Encyclopedia of Literature, 16th Century. Above, an angled ceiling of enormous glass panes, which makes the library feel like a space colony of the future. Just ahead, yellow escalators and green elevators, shades of disco-era neon that sometimes give Charlotte a migraine. Now, picture Charlotte herself. Her long, dark braid is over one shoulder. She's wearing a sweatshirt zipped all the way up, which looks kind of goofy, but who cares? She's always cold. She's trying to write a report on a long-ago female Renaissance poet, Isabel D'Angelo, but can only find information about the guy everybody already knows about, Antonio Tasso. There's tons and tons of stuff about Tasso and his poetry, but all she's been able to unearth about Isabella D'Angelo is this one fact repeated again and again. Charlotte's brown eyes stare down at it. Tasso's longtime paramour. Paramour. Old-fashioned word for somebody Tasso had sex with. Charlotte's good friend Yasmin is across from her, studying for her macroeconomics test and sucking on sour apple Jolly Ranchers. Yaz loves those. Whenever she leans over to talk to Charlotte, her breath is a great burst of fake apple sweet. Charlotte's boyfriend Adam is there too. He sits to her right, his knees touching hers under the table, the sleeves of his hoodie pushed up to his elbows. He's always touching her like this, like she's his lucky rock, or like he's worried she'll run off if he doesn't hang on. Nate sprawls in the chair next to Yasmin. They've been together since sophomore year, and Nate has stopped working out, and he has a little splooch of belly over his stomach, and he's on his third day in that Kurt Cobain t-shirt, and this bothers Yasmin because he doesn't seem to be trying anymore. Also, his pits have a slightly tangy odor, which is a constant problem for Yaz. It's the end of spring quarter, right before break, and Charlotte and Yasmin have serious stuff to do because they're perpetual overachievers with lots of AP classes and graduations coming. Charlotte's got this term paper, which is going nowhere, and Yasmin's final is going to be brutal. Adam and Nate are just screwing around, though. Nate made a triangle football out of a note card, and Adam has his hands up like goalposts, and they're flicking it back and forth and making whoops of victory and ahs of defeat, and they're basically being way too loud for a library. A guy with a big beard and backpack scowls at them. A little kid stares wide-eyed like they're a riveting puppet show, maybe wishing he could get away with stuff like that. "Guys, stop," Yasmin says. "Show some maturity." She sounds like her mother right then, Charlotte thinks. Yasmin's mom is very serious and always on her case about her grades, even though she gets straight A's. But Charlotte wants them to knock it off too. She and Yaz are both the polite, anxious sort of people who worry about getting in trouble. She wishes she weren't, but she can't help it. Nate tries to grab Yasmin's butt, and she pulls away, annoyed. Charlotte looks up to see if the librarian is watching. Just so you know, we're always watching. And then that's when it happens. Charlotte's eyes scoot in a fateful arc from Nate's hand on Yasmin's butt across the space of the library, stopping just short of the librarian's desk, because there it is, that flyer. It's posted on a notice board hanging on the wall by the bank of elevators. She's not sure why she didn't see it before, because the words practically call out to her now, which is a cliche, but true. Anything about writing calls out to her, though. Short story contests, ads in the Stranger for writing classes, articles online, new notebooks, packs of pens, fat blocks of printer paper. Anything that has to do with writing has drawn her since she wrote her first story, The Land of the Mixed Up Animals, when she was 7. Wait, no. Anything about writing has pulled her in probably since she was 5 and read this line in Where the Wild Things Are. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. Is that beautiful or what? Words were forest to explore in your very own room, warm tents to hide in, and magic cloaks that transformed you. And that is Deb Coletti, One Great Lie, a young adult romance. Now we are going to read the first 3 pages of These Feathered Flames, and this is by Alexandra Overy, and this is a fantasy novel. Part 1, The Girl Who Grew Claws. Once in Turin, 2 princesses were born of mortal blood, but divinely sworn. When monsters of chaos prowled the night to protect the queendom, the girls took flight to the old hallowed lands where they first swore an oath to pay the greatest price and sever them both. So there the merciless earth took its claim, binding one to the throne and one to the flame. The Queen and the Firebird. Chapter 1. The prey wasn't meant to be a child. When Asya had smelled the sharp tang of magic, strong even before she emerged from the tree line, that possibility hadn't so much as fluttered across her mind. It was never meant to be a child. But the scent of magic was undeniable, that indistinguishable combination of damp, overturned earth and the metallic copper of blood cut through with the acrid burn of power. It was overlaid with the cloying sweetness of water rose, as if someone had tried to mask it. A futile attempt. And Asya was sure this time the person they were looking for had to be here. The comfort of the forest stood at her back, the dark canopy of trees stretching behind her in every direction. The fading sunlight could not break through the writhing tangle of branches, so in the shadow of the trunks it was dark as twilight. Most people feared the forest, stories of monsters that lurked in its depths, witches who lured unsuspecting children in and tore out their hearts. But to Asya, it had always felt safe. The gnarled trunks and rustling leaves were like old friends. "This is it," Asya said, inclining her head toward the clearing in front of them. A slight smile tugged at her lips. 2 years ago, when her great-aunt had first deemed Asya ready to try tracking, to follow the magic with only her mortal senses once they were close enough to the source, she'd found it impossible. More often than not, she just led them in circles until Tarja gave up on her, but today, Asya had managed it. She might not be as unwavering as her aunt, as strong or as dutiful, but at least Asya had succeeded in this. She glanced over at Tarja, waiting for her reaction, but her aunt stood stiller than the trees, an immovable presence in their midst. The shadowed light filtering through the leaves cast her face in stark relief, carving deep hollows into her snow-white cheeks and emphasizing the wrinkles at her brow. She could have been a painting, one of the old oil portraits of the gods, soft brushstrokes of light, adding an ethereal glow to her stern face. It made her look otherworldly, inhuman, which she was, one of the creatures that prowled these trees. While Asya or any other mortal could smell the residual magic, her aunt could feel it. No amount of water rose or burned sage or any of the other tricks people tried could hide magic from Tarja. Her dark eyes flickered to Asya. "Correct," her aunt murmured, a hint of satisfaction in her soft voice. In front of them, the comforting trees gave way to an open paddock. It had been allowed to run wild, chamomile glinting yellow in the long grass like sunspots on water. Purple-capped mushrooms pushed their way through the weeds, intertwining with the soft lilac of scattered crocuses. The tinge of pride in Asya's chest melted away, replaced by thrumming anticipation. But the cold apprehension burning in her stomach overshadowed it, darkening the flowers to poisonous thorns and muting the colors like fog. It was always like this, ever since the first time Tarja had taken her on a hunt. When she was left without a task to complete, a distraction, Asya couldn't pretend to forget what came next. She hoped it would get better, but she still couldn't shake the lingering fear. She shifted her feet, trying to ignore the erratic rhythm of her heart. She hated waiting, each frantic beat stretching out into an eternity. She just wanted this to be over. After all, her sister had always been the brave one. But that was why Asya was here, why she had to follow this path, no matter how she wavered. She owed it to her sister. They were the two sides of a coin, and if Asya failed, then her sister would too. Tarja's words, the words Asya had to live by, pounded through her. This is our duty, not a question of right or wrong, but of balance. And that is These Feathered Flames by Alexandra Overy, and it is a teen fantasy fiction. So there you have it. We are done with our teen tidbits. So until next time, you guys have a great day, and I will see you later.